Hello everyone and welcome. Today I'm going to share my greatest passion, which is of course Japanese green tea, or more precisely matcha. Unlike other Japanese green tea, matcha is actually powdered. So what happens is the leaf is cultivated, is grown and harvested undercover. This reduces oxidization. Oxidization is when the sunlight comes and affects the tea leaf, color, texture, style, and taste. So matcha leaves are done under shade, so this oxidization is kept to a minimum. The leaves are then crushed. Now, in modern day Japan, of course, crushing is done through machinery, but traditionally it was done using a large circular stone grinder system. So the stone grinder would be maybe about this size. They'd put the leaves underneath, and then one of the workers would turn the grinder, and the grinder stone would crush the leaves to create this beautiful green powder. Many of people would know that Japanese powdered matcha is the tea used in the Japanese tea ceremony. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail about the Japanese tea ceremony. However, that will be explained in another video. What I do want to focus on is the tools you need to make matcha in your home. The only tool you really need to buy is this. This is called a chasen, or a bamboo whisk. Now, it comes in many forms. Okay? The things you need to be aware of are the number of prongs and where it is made. So let's talk about where it's made first. The best chasens come from Japan. So I really recommend you buy a Japanese chasen. The area that makes the best chasens is Nara. But Nara chasens are slightly expensive. But any chasen made in Japan will be good quality. The number of prongs are also very important. In a traditional Japanese tea ceremony, there are two styles of tea that are consumed. One is a koicha style and one is an usucha style. The koicha style is a thick matcha style, and the usucha style is a more liquidy, more fluid matcha style of drinking. This usucha style is what we usually see in cafes and what we usually drink when we're at home. To create a more liquidy matcha, which is easier to drink, you need many prongs. So a chasen with between 38 and 64 prongs is ideal. The more prongs you have, the lighter, the smoother, the more fluid the matcha will be. If you wanted to make a thicker style of matcha, a koicha style of matcha, then minimum prongs are required, between 12 to 32. Around the 20 mark is ideal. This will produce a thick, rich matcha. However, as I said, most people prefer the lighter usucha style. This whisk is the only thing you need to buy. Everything else I explained is optional. Let's have a look at first option, which is the tea bowl. Now, a tea bowl or a chawan is traditionally yakimono or pottery style. However, you can get a wooden style, for example, this one here, which I use for nodate or outdoor tea ceremony picnics. Chawans come in a variety of colors. They can have a nice face, they can be plain, they can be brown, black, any color. Chawans can also be seasonal, for example, for winter, for spring, for summer, or for autumn. The most important thing you need to know when you are thinking about a chawan is the depth of the chawan. So, the deeper the chawan, the better, because you are going to prepare the matcha and drink from it. So, this will allow you to whisk quite vigorously if this depth is high. If it is low, you might spill. So you don't spill, so try and make this depth very high. This is a Rikyuware chawan, one of my favourite, and this is mainly, you will see this in a tea ceremony situation. If you can't find a chawan, or you can't buy a chawan, a soup bowl is fine as long as the width is quite high. The next thing you need to consider is this. This is a chashaku, or a scoop, and it's used to scoop the tea and place it into the chawan, like so. Now, the angle of the scoop can vary depending on the style or the tradition that you are following. However, if you don't have a scoop, don't worry, a teaspoon is fine as well. To put the water into the chawan, you need, of course, a teapot. Now, this is a traditional Japanese teapot. This is called a nambu teki. Teki meaning iron in Japanese. Nambu is from the north region of Iwate, Morioka in Japan. Again, the nambu teki is used to keep the hot water nice and fresh and to pour. There are two styles of nambu tekis. One that can be used to heat using fire and then pouring, and the other one you need to use a kettle. You put the hot water into the nambu teki and then you pour. Both styles are perfect. Nambu tekis are a wonderful addition to any kitchen or household. They are quite heavy though. But if you don't have a nambu teki, don't worry. A normal English teapot is fine. Now, let me show you these two little things here. These are tea containers. This one is a chaire, which is used to contain koicha style matcha tea. And this one is a matsume, which is used to contain usucha style Japanese tea. You will notice that for this one, which is absolutely superb, this is ivory, this has a slight imperfection. And it's the imperfection, the wabi-sabi, the tetsugaku, the philosophy of the tea ceremony that makes this very appealing. But again, if you're enjoying it at home, the standard container that your tea comes in when you buy it is fine. Now, talking about tea, let's talk about the tea itself. Matcha tea, or green tea, in this beautiful form, comes from Kyoto. The place in Kyoto that produces the best tea is called Uji. It's a city just south of Kyoto City. We call this style of matcha tea Ujicha. And the best tea, I believe, comes from this region. Another great region that produces fantastic matcha tea is in Aichi, near Nagoya. So both Aichi and Kyoto produce the best matcha tea. And I recommend the quality of tea is so important when you are enjoying your tea at home. So I know you can get cheaper matcha tea, but try and get at least a medium to high grade tea, and try and get it from either Kyoto or Aichi, and then you will have a wonderful matcha experience. The last thing I want to talk about is this little thing. So, matcha is relatively bitter. It's got what they call umami, which is a bitter kind of savoury taste to it. And because we don't put sugar or we don't put milk into our matcha, some people think, it's too bitter, they need a sweet to balance it out. This sweet is called a nerikiri, which is my favourite sweet. But any sweet, a small chocolate or a little bit of a sugar cube, will add to that exposure and that blending in your mouth between the bitterness of the tea and the sweetness of the food you are consuming. So basically that's it. As you can see, we don't need too many tools. The only tool we really need to buy is the cha sen. So let me go through a quick dry run, and in the next video we'll actually do it for real. So what we do, we take our chashaku, our scoop, we scoop up some tea, either in a natsume or a chaire, or the container it's in, and we put it into our tea bowl or chawan. Usually we do it 3 times, okay? Then we use our cha sen. Oops, sorry. Then we add water. Then we whisk or blend using our cha sen. And then we enjoy drinking it. And that basically is the matcha story. As I said in our next video, let's do it for real. Take care. Bye bye.